So, who's ready to beat the game? Normal difficulty, anyway. Last time we had just gotten to Haragath, and did the first quest here in Act 5. And today, hopefully, we will go ahead and finish off all the quests here in Act 5. I noticed on the last couple of streams that I did here that sometimes the NPC audio plays and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know what the rhyme or reason is for it. So good luck, I guess. I'm going to keep pretending or assuming that it does whenever I talk to somebody, although, you know, we've done our introductions, most of our introductions here in Haragath, and it looks like the cutscene audio is playing, at least for the voices there, so, yeah, it won't really matter after this, because as we go through the rest of the difficulty levels, normal being this one, once we get to Nightmare and then Hell, I will just skip the cutscenes and skip through a lot of dialogue and stuff like that, just because, you know, there's no need to hear it twice. But the first time through the game, I wanted to give kind of an authentic experience for anybody who might just be watching this and has never played the game before. So, yeah, let's sell our extra stuff here to Larzik. Repairs durability, not necessary. More diamonds, and the Thul rune, and the Ort rune. And do we have a Tall rune? Actually, don't think we do have a Tall rune, because that will be, we will need the runes Tall, Thul, Ort, and Amn in order to make the Spirit rune word that I've been talking about so much. I'm also going to want to make a helmet that has an Ort rune in it and a Soul rune, but we don't have those yet, so... but I'm just getting them ready, so I don't accidentally use them some other way. I forgot, we can use these gauntlets now, which means we can get rid of these, and that's good. That lightning resistance is more valuable. We don't quite have enough strength for the boots yet. No stats left, but let's see. A lot of times, and then as soon as we go ahead and buy or put on those lightning resist ones, we find these just in Larzik's inventory. 16 fire resist and 6% better chance of magic items. Yeah, I'll actually just get those instead. Let's see what else is here. Attack rating and lightning resist 5. I'll take these. Generally speaking, lightning resist and fire resist are roughly equivalent in terms of their importance, with cold resist being behind both of them. And then last but not least, poison resist. So this gives you enhanced defense and replenished life. This is enhanced defense, and neither one of those are particularly good, so I'm trying to remember. This is just fire res. So our fire resistance is really high, our cold res is maxed, our lightning resist could use some help. So, and I realize we have an extra skill point here, so let's just go ahead. We could actually get Wake of Inferno, because it will, you know, it's another trap we could use. But the goal is just to have Wake of Fire do as much as possible. So, just keep Wake of Fire going. All right. And in the quest log, I thought we had that quest last time, but I guess we don't. So let's talk to Qualkek here. Alright, so now we should have a quest to, yeah, find the soldiers in the Frigid Highlands. So let's head to the Frigid Highlands, see if we can find the soldiers. Remember, again, Eldritch is right here. And Eldritch is a great guy to farm. Lots of experience. Also, you know, the fact that he's right off of that waypoint every time, that's another good reason to farm him. Anytime you can get, you know, a mini-boss or an elite that is easy to find, it's worth it. We'll pick that up. So as we go up here, we're going to kind of pass through these series of barricades. And as we go through them, we should find, hopefully, some areas where the barbarians that Qualkek is worried about are imprisoned. These imps are just super annoying. And for some reason, sometimes this will happen. If you unequip your teleport staff, it will not save it to your bindings. Why that does that? That's a bug they really need to fix, because it's very annoying. Want to be able to use that teleport staff when we have it. Make sure we're still using our leaf staff. That'll get a little bit easier to tell the difference when we aren't using two staffs that look exactly the same. Yep, and here is a group of barbarians. You can see they are stuck behind this door. And the door has like 1 hit point, so we've saved some of them, not all of them yet. Who's this? So we just want to save, there's 3 groups of barbarians here that you need to save. These teleporting guys are really kind of inconvenient to sit there and spend a ton of time trying to kill, because they just jump around so much that we're just going to kind of cast some traps and hope that they run into them. Oh, there's a group of barbarians right there.
Let us out!
Okay, guys, you're free to go. Should be one more group. It's possible we missed them somewhere along the way. But circle it. It's just an ethereal circlet. I was hoping it would be a circlet with 2 sockets in it, because we could use that for a rune word. Don't see. Maybe it was down way back where we started. Kind of annoying to have to backtrack all this way. But you can see here's one of those areas where that teleport staff is coming in very handy. Yep, and here's the other group of barbarians. There's some stuff out here. Here's Sharptooth Slayer, who's another elite. And he drops not a unique ring, but a magic ring. kind of nice. That teleport staff, you know, it's just really clutch. You just don't have to worry about breaking down all of these doors and all of that stuff. You can just run through and get up to the next area. You can see why a lot of people who are speedrunners, you know, will get that teleport staff, make that a huge priority, because you know, you can just wholesale skip huge sections of the game. Which is not necessarily the goal, but it certainly, you know, of this particular playthrough, we don't want to just skip everything, but it is possible. Oops, I didn't realize that I had... Actually, well, since we cast the town portal, I didn't mean to do that. The way that it works on console is that it will, if you have an empty slot in your belt, the farthest slot to the right will default to putting Scrolls of Town Portal in it. The furthest slot to the left will default to putting healing potions, mana potions, rejuvenation potions, Scrolls of Town Portal. So you can put scrolls in your belt, something I think a lot of people don't realize, as opposed to, you know, carrying around a tome with you. So again, we still need more strength. We want to get up to 70 strength, and we got another skill, so let's just keep bumping that wake of fire. And we'll talk to Qualkek. Actually, yeah, let's talk to Kane first. Go back to Larzik, see if he's got any more interesting belts for us. Lightning resist 17. Here's where I'm actually going to use this to replace the Bitter Grip ring that we're carrying. The Bitter Grip, now we'll keep the Nagel. The Bitter Grip is 12 cold resist, 7 light res. This is 17 light res, which is good, because our cold resistance is maxed out. So it doesn't really do us any good to have additional cold resist right now. Probably just sell a number of these healing potions. I have a tendency to just pick them up as I go, because you never know when you might need them, but 10 to life, not bad actually. And then 25% better chance of getting magic items. It's really nice on a set of gloves, but I'd rather have the resistances right now. Cold resist 10. And actually, I think, even though I said I don't need the cold resist, I think, what is this? This says cold resist 40. We're going to lose a little bit of cold resist, but the utility that we get out of having a big belt, you see, look at all the additional space we have now. That utility is just super valuable. So for now, we will just store the Arctic Binding over here. And yeah, it's, you know, you see our cold resistance has now gone down to 50, but cold resistance is not as important as the other things, and just freeing up all that inventory space is good. So this is where, if you don't know anything about rune words, he kind of lays it out for you, that there is a right way to put them in into a socketed shield. We have a socketed shield right now. And he actually gives you the 3 rune words, or the 3 runes that you need in order to make a socketed shield that will give you a pretty nice rune word for a rune word called Ancient's Pledge. And that is Ral, Ort, Tal. You put them into a shield, and it will give you a bunch of resistances. Now, these do resistances anyway, right? 35 fire resistance in a shield, 35 lightning resist in a shield, 35 poison resist in a shield. But these 3 put into that order will also give you, what's the missing one? Cold resistance, and a few other little benefits. I would put it into this shield right now. I did save it for specifically this purpose. But I know that I'm going to need a Tal rune for the Spirit Sword that I'm going to do. And also, I'm not going to use a shield while I'm using the Leaf Staff, because you can't use a shield with a staff. And also, I'd rather have the +3 to fire skills. So, for now, we're just really not going to do anything with these runes, but just know that that's kind of the game's way of telling you, hey, by the way, there's a way to do this. Well, we'll just that's not worth anything anymore. There's a way to do this that's actually going to be more beneficial for you. Okay. So let's see. I don't know if Mala has anything. Nope. We're just going to keep on going. But Act 5 is, you know, made later, so you can see it's generally not in a great situation there. That's another thing that's nice about the teleport staff, is you can just teleport your way out of that situation. Act 5 is kind of considered to be, you know, one of the better looking acts in terms of graphics and the theming and everything. It's pretty good. Really don't need to keep picking up all these. Don't need to keep picking up all of these healing potions all the time. So, we have Prison of Ice. Look for Anya under the crystalline passage by the frozen river. Technically, Mala is the one who's supposed to give you that quest, but for some reason she did not. But I imagine if I go back to town and talk to Mala, she will give me that. One nice thing down here is that a lot of these monsters have high resistance to cold, as one might expect, but really bad resistance to fire. So they should die pretty easily to all of the fire spells that we're casting. Just want to keep collecting those super healing potions, even though we don't really need them. Those Bloodlords are, these guys, these kind of Minotaur-looking guys, are really, or I guess they're Moonlords. Sometimes they're Bloodlords, sometimes they're Moonlords, sometimes they're Deathlords. Usually the name is something Lord. And here is a waypoint. So we'll head back and talk to Mala, because I think she will probably give us the quest we're looking for here. Okay. And, you know, I should have, while I was here, see what this Grand Charm is. Faster run walk. It's 7%, which is actually quite a bit. But there's no other modifications or benefits here. It's literally just faster run walk. So to me, I don't think that this Grand Charm is worth hanging on to. Hop back over to Larzik again and just see if he has any interesting belts that would be good. This is not a bad place just to come and check every once in a while. 21 Magic Bind, Dexterity, Recovery, that's fine. We're going to put on the Saigon's boots as soon as we get up to 70 strength. Okay. Oh, a Shale rune. Wow. Shale, it's actually pretty high rune. Level 29, you need to use that one. Shale is used for a number of different rune words, of course, but also just a really nice rune on its own because it adds additional attack speed when you socket it into weapons. So that can be a good one to have even if you don't need Thul rune. So here's the Frozen River, which is, I believe, if we check our quest log, Anya under the crystalline passage by the Frozen River. So she should be in here. Anyway, getting additional attack speed on a weapon is almost always beneficial. And there is a broadsword. This may be exactly what we need. Because I believe the monsters that are in the Frozen River are a sufficient level that broadsword, if we take it to Larzik, will give us 4 sockets. So, the way that sockets work is it's not random. When you go and talk to Larzik, he will always give you the maximum number of sockets that an item can hold when you ask him to put sockets into something. However, there's actually 2 components to that, because although a broadsword technically has a maximum number of sockets of 4 sockets, it will never get more than 4 sockets, there is an additional part of this calculation that is dependent on just take out some of these guys here. I'm gonna check this poleaxe because that poleaxe could have 4 sockets, but instead no, of course it just has 1. So the maximum number of sockets that a broadsword can get is 4. You'll never find a broadsword in the game that has more than 4 sockets. So you'd think, okay, as long as I find a broadsword, I'm good to go. But that's not entirely true, because broadswords that you get from, what was this? Quest log. Rescue Anya. So Anya must be around here somewhere. Broadswords have to be, if you find a broadsword that's dropped in, say, level 1, you know, like right after the start of the game, let's when you're doing the Den of Evil or something like that, a broadsword that is dropped there is not going to give you 4 open sockets. Because the broadsword itself was not dropped by a monster who was high enough, was a high enough level, such that they would ever drop a broadsword with 4 sockets. If that makes sense. So the level of the monster that dropped the broadsword will also determine how many sockets that an item can have. And we are now at the point in, I believe, every... so it's actually a breakdown that in order to be a broadsword that can drop the maximum of 4 sockets, it needs to be dropped by a monster who is level 26 or higher. And here, I think, is Anya. So, just to wrap up that conversation, as you're going through the game, you don't get to an area where you find consistently monsters who are level 26 and higher until you get to Act 4. When you get to Act 5, the Bloody Foothills and the Frigid Highlands, the first 2 zones, have monsters who are level 24 and level 25, respectively. But the Frozen River should be an area where the monsters are 26 or higher. They're probably like 27 or 28, which means that this broadsword was dropped by a monster who was at least level 26, so if we take it to Larzik, it should get 4 sockets. I'm going to just hang on to it for now, because we could always still just find a sword that has 4 open sockets. It's possible. So until we have all the runes that we need to make that spirit sword, we're going to wait and just keep looking. Well, let's tell Mala we found Anya. So Anya gives us this potion, or Mala gives us a potion that will help thaw Anya. Should have known that Neelathok was up to something. He was very shifty. Shale rune. Crazy. Alright. Normally you don't get a shale rune until you are in Nightmare. Alright, Anya, there you go. Don't know. Don't think my teleport staff... Hey, it did. I wasn't sure if I'd be able to make that jump. But it did. And that saves me having to run all the way around. These Rotwalker guys, they're, you know, like these undead skeleton dudes. They come back to life. You kill them, and then they reanimate and come back. Kind of a fun little monster mechanic there. So even though I killed all those guys once, they all come back to life over time. Okay, let's continue going and see what else awaits us. Eventually we will go back and talk to Anya, and she'll give us the whole skinny on what happened between her and Neelathok. Does seem a little shady that all of the other elders sacrificed themselves in order to protect the people of Harageth, but Neelathog didn't. Why? And it looks like Mala's going to have some kind of a reward for us too, which is great. And this takes us up to the Glacial Trail. Those evil urns, in case you haven't realized it, they will always spawn either like a champion pack or an elite pack. So, if you're feeling up to it, and obviously we are, the Frozen Tundra, not Lambeau Field. Warbow, and another broadsword. That one definitely will give us 4 sockets. Because I know that all of these outdoor areas, the only ones that are not only ones that are level 24 or 25 are the Bloody Foothills, which is the first area that we go through, and the Frigid Highlands, which is where you rescued Balkexman. There is a waypoint somewhere here in the Frozen Tundra. Usually not a bad idea to pick one up. So we haven't picked one up in a while. And anytime I've gone for a little while without picking up a waypoint, I start to get a little nervous that in case I die stupidly. There it is. There's the waypoint. So we'll just take it and turn in our quest. Just gonna save this too, because why not have 2 of them? And we found another set item. Okay. I want to trade some stuff with you first. This is a jewel. It works just like gems or runes in that you can put them into socketed items. This one is absolute garbage. It's +3 to life. But there are certain things in the game where you just need a jewel. It doesn't matter what the properties of that jewel are. It's used for crafting. I'm going to hang on to it for just that reason. But you would never use this jewel. It's +3 to life is almost nothing. Extra gold from monsters. Damage reduced by 3. None of those things are good. There's another piece of the Arctic set. So we had the Arctic belt, this is the Arctic Warbow. So you can see that the Arctic set is kind of designed for Amazons. When you get the bow and the belt, and then the mitts presumably are some kind of gloves, and I don't know if the furs are boots, maybe. You put those all together, and you're going to get some additional benefits to those that you see that are just on the items themselves. It's the way the sets work. So I'm actually going to save that too, in case we make an Amazon here in the future. If we find all of the set, you can see that both of them are green now. You have to actually equip them. Once you have them equipped, you can see what the extra benefits are. We don't have enough dexterity to equip the bow, so we won't be able to see what those benefits are right now anyway. But at some point, if we make an Amazon, she'll be in pretty good shape, because she'll have... I still have this. Look at this. There's another jewel in here as well. 7 to maximum damage actually is not a terrible low-level jewel. But Anya also gave us this cool scroll that, well, first of all, we leveled up. So let's go ahead, get our 5 stat points into strength, more Wake of Fire, and we can now put on this. The controller totally died on me there. Let's just make sure that everything is still on. Yep, everything still looks good. Good thing that happened while we were sitting here in town and not out in the wilderness somewhere. We would have definitely died. That's why we don't play hardcore characters. Okay. I'm going to cast this Scroll of Resistance, and it basically takes all of your resistances and increases them by 10. Our cold resistance was 50 before. Now it's 60. That's great. I mean, resistances, in case you haven't, figured it out by all the stuff I've been talking about, resistances are actually really, really important. Now I'm going to put on these boots. So that will hurt our fire resist a little bit. What we really need to do is get a belt that has something other than 10 cold resist, because that's not really doing us any good anymore. This is 7 to life. That's not that valuable. I'm gonna hang on to those boots just in case. They are kind of nice. Just in case, it's good to have a little bit of flexibility with your gear. Thanks, Anya. That's really nice. All right, so now Anya becomes someone that you can gamble from because Neelathak is gone. 25 magic find. And Anya is a place to check from time to time because she can have some really cool items. None of these are in that category, although she did give us a claw. Unfortunately, this is... it's not really going to be particularly useful. It's not a very good claw anyway, but it wouldn't be useful for us as a trap assassin in really any case. So, but you can find occasionally claws that will add to traps, and we will maybe try to shop Anya the same way, a very similar way that we did for. Matter of fact, let me just show you how that works, because she opens this portal here to Neelathak's temple. So you can go here. And then you can go back and trade with her, and her inventory gets updated every time you do this. Including, of course, these weapons. So these are enhanced damage, 1 to strength, mana steal. I really don't. I don't know why it doesn't let you pop back in immediately. They changed that a little bit. Yeah, look, she's got some pretty good magic find items in here. Minimum damage, max damage. So anyway, I'm not going to worry about that anymore. But when we get higher levels. Like we get to Nightmare and Hell difficulties, Anya is a really good place to shop to find good gear. So let's go to Neelathak's temple and take out Neelathak. Here's another place where there are, where you have an elite that's quite easy to get to, because that portal that Anya opens will stay open. And it used to not stay open once you completed this quest. The portal would go away. So a lot of people would not complete the quest because you actually don't need to complete this quest in order to beat the game. You can just continue going and eventually get to Bale and kill him. But for the purposes of completing the story, telling the whole story, we'll go ahead and do this quest. But technically, this is not required to go down here and kill Neelathak. Maybe a bit of a spoiler alert there, but... So anyway, the meta used to kind of be to not... That's 3 sockets. If it was 4, that would be great. The meta used to kind of be to not go ahead and do this because... and actually, you could kill Neelathak, but there's a waypoint down here. As long as you didn't get that waypoint, Anya would keep the portal open for you. And that portal was valuable because it takes you directly to Pindleskin. And Pindleskin is, ironically, one of the highest level monsters in the entire game. He could drop basically every single, on Hell difficulty anyway, he could drop every single item in the game except for like 3 items he can't drop. Everything else, though, he could drop, which makes him a very popular place to farm. Because you can just load into a game, go kill Pindleskin, pick up his loot, reboot, load into another game. Yeah, see, those guys will just really mess you up if you're not careful. Just keep doing it over and over and over again. And I spent quite a bit of time doing that in my Diablo days. Wake Up Fire spell is just so good. It won't stay this good. We will definitely hit a point where we'll slow down considerably in terms of the damage output, but because we are still adding skills, full skill levels to it, we're still not maxed out. We're just gonna keep keep scaling up. Neolithok's maps here in the temple, they're also, they're not totally random. There's just a handful of maps that exist, so if you have them memorized, you can kind of know exactly where to go. I don't have them memorized. Obviously, I didn't do Neolithok's temple a lot. I spent a lot of my time just farming Pindleskin. So it wasn't really in my best interest, you know, to get to know these levels very well. Sure. But just gonna check this scissors guitar because again, it can have additional assassin skills on it. This one doesn't. I think we've gone. We've explored as much of this, just about as much of this level as we possibly can without finding the way down. And in typical Diablo 2 fashion, there are 3 levels of the Halls of Anguish, or sorry, of Neolithok's temple here, and Neolithok will be on the 3rd and final one. Those guys will definitely put you into hit recovery, unless you have a ton of health, or if you have a bunch of physical resistance. And here is a sparkling chest, not to be confused with a super chest. Sparkling chests, I believe, have a higher chance of dropping, you know, magical items, but I don't think. But they're not. They don't drop nearly as many things as you can find in super chests. And again, super chests are just chests that are random, not really random, but they appear to sort of be random in the sense that they just drop way more stuff than a normal chest that looks exactly the same. And the only way to know that is to know on certain map tiles where those chests are. I'll see if I can, like, for example, that one that's in Mephisto's. So I'm going to get this waypoint, whereas in previous versions of the game, the non-Diablo 2 Resurrected version of the game, I would never have gotten that waypoint. Because that would make Anya not give me the portal. And honestly, it doesn't matter as much on normal difficulty, because you're not going to farm Neolithok on normal difficulty, really. Here is the way down. Okay, so now we've entered the Halls of Vought. This is where Neolithok is. And you can tell... Well, you know what? I'm just going to go ahead and let's clear all of these out. We'll talk about kind of figure out which one he's in another time when we get to hell, because that's when we will want to potentially farm Neolithok and talk about why, all that kind of stuff. Once we get to that point in our character's progression. We are a long way from there still, not even having beaten So it's basically 4 wings on this. Yeah, we have claws. Check them out. That is a 3-socketed set of claws, so that's kind of nice. There are some nice rune words that you can put into claws with 3 sockets, but not really any that we're going to be worried about in this particular playthrough. I'm glad that there are no snakes down here. One of the monster sets you can get down in this zone are snakes, and the snakes actually used to be bugged very dangerously, because the snakes would shoot like spines at you that would, first of all, the spines that they would still do their charge attack, if you remember from Act 2. Act 5 has a lot of what they call guest monsters, right? So monsters from other parts of the game that come back, mixed in with some of the new monsters that are, of course, in the expansion. And so the snakes, of course, are among the monsters that will come back, and they'll still do that charge up, or that charging attack that will stun you. But they would also shoot spines at you, and there is a broadsword. Fingers crossed it has 4 sockets. 1. Nope. Well, so much for that. Would have been really cool if we just got a broadsword with 4 sockets and didn't have to worry about... and of course, Neelithok will be in the very last one of these wings. It's all fine. Now, you can't take a socketed item to Larzik and have him give you more sockets in it. If it already has sockets, Larzik's not going to do anything. It's got to be a plain... Well, he'll actually put sockets in a magical item, but he won't put the maximum number of sockets that item can hold if it's magical. He will put 1 or 2 sockets into it, and that will just be randomly determined. So here's where Neelithok's going to be. You got to be really careful with Neelithok because he's a necromancer, and so he has a spell called Corpse Explosion. Great spell if you're a necromancer. But what it does is it basically causes the corpses that are around to explode. And it will deal a percentage of the life that is in those corpses. You can see he's using that spell. Now, fortunately, these corpses don't have a tremendous amount of life, because we're still just on normal difficulty. But on Hell difficulty, probably one of the cooler deaths in the game, I think. So we've killed Neelithok, but no relic. He was supposed to be carrying the relic. We did level up. We don't need any more strength right now, so we'll go back to pumping vitality. More Wake of Fire. Anyway, so you gotta be a little bit careful when you kill Neelithok, because he will just explode all of these corpses that are around him. So sometimes the best way to do it is to just go in and kill him individually, if you can pick through all of the bad guys. And then once you've killed him, then worry about all of the ads. If you do a lot of AoE, which of course we do, you just gotta be a little bit more careful. So she gives you this kind of vanity quest here, not vanity, reward to personalize an item. You can give her an item, and she will put your name on it. So, yeah, maybe we'll do that with our spirit sword, and you can see the way that that works. Defense, life, no. She's got a bunch of different claws here, but I don't think any of them are going to be what we're looking for, so nope. This ring, 10% faster cast rate. Actually kind of a valuable piece of gear for a sorceress or a paladin. Just a ring with straight up nothing else but 10% faster cast rate. One of my future characters will probably want that. I'm going to go over to Larzik and have him repair. And you can see it costs me 61,658 gold to repair, which is, I mean, I've got plenty of gold at this point, but it's not nothing. And that is simply because this teleport staff, we've been using a fair bit of those teleport charges, so we probably had, 15 charges or so to repair. And that's why it was more expensive. This is great. 14 lightning resist. Yeah, I'm not even going to think twice about that. I'll put that on. And now you can see our lightning resist is a lot better. This is looking really good for resistances. Just check out some of these gloves and things. 20 light res on the gloves. That's good, but it's we still want the fire resist, so that's fine. Gear, your gloves, your belt, your boots, those are really great places to look for. I don't know what I'm doing. I was going to give some of my gold to Anya, or Mala. Back to the frozen tundra we go. And we're just gonna have to go up Mount Aryan the hard way. So Anya was basically saying that with that relic, Baal will not be tested as he ascends. It's literally right here. The Ariat Summit is right there. There is a waypoint in here that I want to get. So I'm going to pick that up. But anyway, that relic, the whole reason that, that relic had value was because it meant that you can go to the top of the mountain and get to the World Stone, which is where he's trying to go, without having to face the Ancients. The Ancients are these kind of barbarian spirits that you have to prove your worthiness to. But because Baal's a chump, he perhaps would not have been able to defeat them. So he cheats, and he gets the relic from Neelithok so that he doesn't have to fight. We, however, will have to fight them because we don't have the cheat code. But considering how much trouble, the game is giving us right now, I don't think it's going to be a big challenge. Casting that burst of speed, and here is the waypoint. Okay. So, I don't know if it's... I'm just gonna keep checking here, see if there's anything.